When I play a worship set, there is one metric I use to measure my success as a musician. In this video, I'm going to tell you what that metric is and how you can use it to determine your own success as a worship musician. My name's Matt, and if you are new here, welcome. This channel is dedicated to helping classical musicians make the jump into worship music. If you're a classical musician who either plays in worship or would like to, you know just how intimidating it can be to make that transition. But the good news is, being successful in worship is not as hard as you might think. As a musician, there are a ton of ways you can measure your success. Did you play all the notes and avoid major mistakes? Did you hit all your entrances? Did you stay together as an ensemble? Are you rhythmically sound? Did you play beautifully and expressively? Did you communicate the musical ideas you were trying to communicate? Were listeners moved emotionally by what you played? And the list goes on. And while so many of these metrics are important on some level, there's one that stands way above the rest, and that's this: connecting with God. Now, before you leave, because this sounds so stupidly obvious, just hear me out. You would be amazed at the number of worship musicians who do not prioritize connecting with God above all else. Instead, they're way more concerned about some of those metrics we talked about just a little bit ago. But truly, connecting with God is what makes worship worth it. And I believe it's the responsibility of every musician leading worship to pursue that connection with God on a personal level. What that looks like is going to be a bit different for every person, because God in his infiniteness has an infinite number of ways that he can connect with us. With that said, I'm going to talk through how I connect with God in worship, just to give you an idea of what it could look like. Remember, this is descriptive, not prescriptive, so you'll have to figure out what works best for you. Thinking about how I typically connect with God in worship, I've broken it down into 3 phases, and the first one is invitation. Invitation is where I invite God to draw me near to him. This involves a few minutes spent in silent prayer where I'm clearing my mind, clearing my heart, and ultimately inviting God to be close to me. For me, this time is a lot less about what I actually pray to God and a lot more about simply centering my heart on him. So phase 1, invitation, inviting God to draw me close to him. Phase 2 of connecting with God in worship is called awareness. As we're going through a worship service, it can be easy to get caught up in all the details. All those things we talked about earlier, such as how you're playing as an individual and what's happening in the group as well. There's a lot going on, and so it's easy to forget that things are happening not only musically, but also spiritually. Awareness is constantly being aware of God's presence and what he is doing in the moment. I've been in tons of worship services before where we came into it thinking we knew how it was going to go. And even though we were prayerful and intentional with how we planned the service, for whatever reason, God decided to switch things up right in the middle of it. And the thing is, if you're not constantly aware of God's presence, you might totally miss out on what he's trying to do in that moment. And that's why awareness is so important. And finally, phase 3 is response. When we've invited God to draw us close to him, we're aware of his presence and what he's doing, then we can decide how we are going to respond to that. And for us as musicians, a lot of times this response has to do with either what we do or don't play. Personally, I learned how to improvise and play by ear, and I love getting to use those skills in how I respond to God. Think about it this way. If I had sheet music, I'm locked into what I'm going to play when. If God wants to do one thing, it doesn't matter because I have my set plan for what I'm going to play. See how it's not really much of a response? Improv, on the other hand, gives you full freedom to respond to whatever God is doing at that moment. Maybe he's calling you to build a song up to demonstrate his power and greatness. Maybe he's asking us to pull back in reflection of his tenderness and beauty. Maybe he's putting a specific melody in your head that he wants you to play for a reason that you might never know. There are so many ways to respond, and improv gives you the ability to partner with God in whatever he is doing. With that said, improv is by no means the only or best way to respond, so you'll have to figure out what works best for you. So, phase number 3, response. Like I mentioned earlier, this is the one metric I use to determine my success as a worship musician. Because in addition to simply praising and glorifying God, I believe the purpose of worship is to connect with him. And success isn't black and white. It's not, did you connect with God or not? It's more, are you pursuing him? Are you taking those steps to grow closer to him? So I challenge you to ask yourself that question. Are you connecting with God in worship? Are you pursuing him? Are you taking steps to grow closer to him? Or, at the very least, do you want to? If you said yes to any of those questions, please check out our other resources here on this channel, as well as those on our website, which is linked in the description down below this video. I hope this video has been helpful and that it spurs you on to deeper connection with God.